Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show, where one of us knows how to work computers, and thank God Amanda's here to do that.
Hi, guys.
Otherwise, I'd be toast.
Yes. Is your sound off today?
I have no idea yet. I was trying to just send a post, and it's done this 2 days in a row to me, where it takes the normal, hey, just let what's on my mind.
Yeah.
And then I hit paste, and then I hit post, and then it asked me to do, it didn't ask me to do 8 million other things.
No?
Yeah, like wants a description, it wants to know how I feel, it wants to know where I'm at, wants to know if I've saved a tree today.
Yeah.
Save the whale, save the
Feel like
bees.
your phone is a little female.
No, it's just...
It wants to know your emotions.
I don't think it's my phone. I honestly think it's...
Facebook?
I think it's Facebook. Yeah.
Are you accusing the great Zuck?
No, I'm accusing him of not being able to teach older people how to use this device. I think he's marvelous, wonderful, amazing.
He is amazing.
Yeah, all of that good stuff. So.
Totally going to beat Elon Musk if that ever happens.
I think Elon Musk is afraid to fight him. So that's what I think. But no, it's just sort of one of those interesting, I figured it out. I got it. I worked my way through it.
You sound.
Yeah, but I had
see that?
I had
Just turn the
I
volume.
had my earbud, so
As
it
long
kept
as the battery
sound
doesn't die.
off. As long as the battery doesn't die, in which case the volume will go to 100,001
Yes.
and we'll be good to go. So yeah. So no. It's going to be a great Wednesday.
Yes.
It's hump day. As
It is
they
hump
used to
day.
say, hey, Mike. It's hump day. So we're going to get all kinds of good stuff done today. But before we do all that stuff, we have to do reads.
We do?
Solomon Services. So they have got all kinds of training for youths and young adults right now. So if your son, daughter is in middle school, high school, or college and wants to get better and get in better shape for their athletic season next year, now's the time to do it. Middle school students are 4 to 5 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. High school, 5 to 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And college, 8 to 9 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They need to go in there and get in good shape. It's a great place. They've got a state-of-the-art facility with both indoor and outdoor turf areas, and all of their coaches are certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association.
Yes,
I
they
know
are.
because I see those coaches twice a week, and I see that state-of-the-art facility twice a week. It's awesome. Be there in the morning.
I have to take my kids to swim. The team at South State Bank is a group of bankers you can count on. Their approach to building long-term relationships with their customers is the best in the business. If you're looking for a banking relationship that you can depend on, check out South State Bank. They've got 3 locations to serve you in St. Augustine: State Road 312, State Road 16, and the beach. Or you can visit them on their website, southstatebank.com. They are a member FDIC. If you don't have dinner plans yet, join the Tringali family. You can go to Carmelo's Pizza, voted best pizza 9 years running. They've got New York-style brick oven pizza. They also serve salads, subs, wings, and more. Or you can choose 123 Burger House, voted best burger 3 years going. Burgers, chicken, wings, salads, authentic wood-fired pizza, and ice cream for dessert. Both restaurants offer dine-in, takeout, or delivery through Bite Squad and Grubhub. Join the Tringali family for dinner. They hope to see you.
And Powell Heating and Air Conditioning, they've been in business serving St. Johns County for over 40 years. They're open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That includes nights, weekends, and holidays. Like I said, they're locally owned, great business. They've got a fleet of over 10 trucks and a 15,000 square foot warehouse stocked with parts and equipment to serve you around the clock. And again, around the clock means around the clock all year long. They service all heating and air conditioning brands. And you said it was what before you walked in here?
It's hot.
It's hot. So you need an AC
nearing
company to
record
come
highs.
service your unit. You want to make sure that your AC unit is working properly in the summer. It's probably even more important because summer's longer than winter. But you should have somebody come check it out. Get on a maintenance plan with them.
hate
And if
when my
you've got
unit's on the
something
fritz.
going on, you can trust them because they're phenomenal at what they do.
They are.
Powell Heating and Air Conditioning, great
They
company.
are fantastic.
And today is Amanda Bouillet Day because there is no day on here on the Jackie Herd calendar. So I have made May 29th Amanda Bouillet Day.
I decree you have a drink.
That's it. Amanda says have a drink.
Tim, Taylor Swift.
I'm a little disappointed. Just one drink?
At least one.
At least one.
I have a deadline tonight, so I can't party on Amanda Bouillet Day. So
What is the deadline tonight?
I have to turn in. I have like a real job situation that I do on occasion, and I have to.
This isn't
turn
a
in
real
project.
job? Talking with me is not a
This
real
is
job.
fun. This is fun that I happen to get paid for, but I have a real job that's less fun that
is
I
a
have
lot
to
of
do, and that's what I squeeze in my spare time.
This is a lot of fun. It's a tremendous amount of fun. Yes, it's so much fun that Davey and Pete are not allowed to do it at 5 o'clock.
They're not.
They're not. They have to stick to that afternoon show.
They turn into a pumpkin.
Which is a pretty good show, but they do. Davey has occasionally been in here on 5 o'clock.
We got a fairy godmother exemption on the pumpkin
on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, the fairy godmother lets Davey come in and do the show. Somehow I think Davey likes that. I think Davey's like, that's the best. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so we have
Tuesday
that.
fairy godmother exemption.
So we have a question of the day for everybody that's listening.
Okay.
And we're going to ask this repeatedly throughout the show as more people kind of tune in.
Yeah.
But the jurors went to deliberate.
They had interesting instructions, didn't they?
Basically, you can convict him of anything. If you think he jaywalked, you can convict him of that. And it doesn't even have to be in the state of New York.
Yeah.
If you think he jaywalked somewhere in the United States at some point in time in his life, we're okay with that.
A part of me is appalled, but the other part of me is they changed legislation so that they could change the statute of limitations just so they can try and throw this at him.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they give the most anti-American set of jury instructions ever delivered ever?
Well, I'm actually surprised the judge did not rule that the jury didn't matter and I'm convicting you anyway. Which he still might if they come back with not guilty.
He can throw it out if they come back not guilty.
Anyway, I want to know if you think Trump's going to be guilty or not guilty, right? And then how long the jury is going to be out.
Okay.
So those are my questions. I have said all along, I don't think there's any way he's found not guilty, right? That is, it's going to be a guilty charge of one of the charges they are going to find him guilty of.
Yeah.
To which everybody that hates Trump is going to be jumping up and down like they have won. What they will have done is it ignited the fire that propels him to just an unbelievable. Because I think most of the American people see that this is rigged.
This is crazy.
And it's not. You look at other political candidates in my lifetime that have done things that have not been brought up on charges.
It's not even political candidates. Let's look at all of the people in power who have ever not acted honorably at some point in their lives.
We only have an hour.
And then
we only have an hour, Amanda.
And then try to keep people quiet.
Yeah.
Can't
look at all of them. Can't be done.
There was only one perfect person and we killed him. That was Jesus. Other than that, everyone is fallible. Everyone has acted badly at some point, and people with money have given money to keep people quiet.
Yeah, so I just want to know, you comment in there. Guilty, not guilty.
I think they're going to find him guilty whether they prove that he was guilty or not, because it's New York and they hate him.
I love the line today from Trump. Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges.
Not in this venue.
I love that line. I thought that was so good.
Not being tried in this jurisdiction with this judge.
Trump did something. He set the bar, right, so high. That if he clears it, it's phenomenal. And if he doesn't clear it, it's like, I told you what's going to happen.
Trump he's a man that deals almost exclusively in hyperbole. So he doesn't usually lie, but he does exaggerate. And there's a difference. I mean, you know that you're getting a carnival barker when you're talking about Trump. So, I mean, that's just who he is. It's who he always has been. Barbara Jean is cheering for her favorite race car driver, Brandon, right now. We're not talking racing. I know that was so funny when that came out. Look, they're cheering for you. Yeah. Let's go, Brandon. I know. Such a cool race car driver, too. That big win in NASCAR that day. Huge win. That girl with the microphone. And so I get where she's coming from. Yes. Because I have been the girl with a microphone while something is going on. Usually on the morning show. You're trying to draw attention away from. Yes. I have been the MC doing the live announcing and working the crowd during dolphin shows where the dolphins were like, no, we'd rather hump the trainer than do what you want us to do. And then you have to try and draw attention from the school kids as to what's actually happening. So I get where she's coming from, but that was so funny. Yes. I love that went viral. I thought it was rather interesting. I mean, she's trying to deflect. She did her best, and she created a viral sensation. I mean, honestly, she should have run out
and immediately tried to trademark "Let's Go Brandon" because
should've.
she would be retired on a beach
Yeah.
somewhere right now.
And the other reason why I think she probably did it was she had probably been at that race since 5 a.m.
Yeah.
If not earlier. And she finally gets the camera on her and the whole world is watching her.
Yes.
And she's been there for hours and hours and
Yes.
hours. And she's afraid FEC is going to pull her.
Yeah.
So she's got to make it not be what it
Did
actually
you
was.
see it called in by your bosses the next day? How did you get the crowd to cheer that? I didn't get him to do anything. We think it was all you, right? I mean, you're now going to have to cover bowling.
Yeah.
We're sending you to the bowling championships.
Well, has anyone seen her since? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's an unknown.
It is an unknown.
I see Davey is watching. I just
We
want
love you,
Davey to know,
Davey.
Davey, we made disparaging remarks about you guys having to work
We
early,
didn't.
not being able to. I did, not being able. But Amanda smiled. Not being able to work at the 5 p.m. hour, except for when your fairy godmother gave you an exemption,
the pumpkin exemption.
the pumpkin exemption, so you can be on the air with us.
Yeah.
So yes, we got the whole thing. So,
Yes. Allegedly, you turn into a pumpkin at 4 p.m.
Allegedly.
So we have to get the exemption for Tuesdays,
Yes,
Davey.
allegedly.
I have the fairy godmother's phone number as well as Santa Claus's
if Pete
phone
were
number.
to show up, he would turn into a Sour Patch Kid.
Unless you give him Darcy cookies.
That's right. If I give him Darcy cookies, all is forgiven and everything is
You notice
good.
he only comes on the show when there are Darcy
I know.
cookies
Hey,
in the
hey,
studio.
Pete, let me know when you want Darcy cookies and I get you on the
And
show.
the election.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Who loves you, boo?
Yeah. Barbara Jean makes an excellent point. Name a politician who doesn't exaggerate. I mean, they all do.
Well, that's one way of putting it.
Or name anyone that's trying to sell you something that doesn't exaggerate.
Best fertilizer spreaders in the world. I was trying to
High
put it some
grade.
way that we could get it by, right?
High grade black cow.
I was just working on it. I was trying to figure all that stuff out.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of stuff, but one of the let's do the libertarian story first.
All righty.
So the libertarians had their convention.
Yeah.
Trump showed up and spoke at it, which I give him full credit for going to a venue that he knew was not going to be as welcoming
Yeah.
as, say, New York to Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Oh wait, never mind.
Typically, that is Robert De Niro's.
Typically,
That's his stomping ground.
Gutfeld called him out yesterday on the 5. You know that show that you watch after you watch this show at 5 o'clock.
You TiVo that one.
You TiVo that one. So you can watch this one. He showed up in a mask. And Gutfeld's like, look, you lost not only your New York card, but you lost your man card as well. I mean, it's 2024.
My question.
And you show up, you go to event. If you're worried about that, don't go to the event. If that's what you're worried about, just go, I can't make it because whatever, make up an excuse. But if you're going to it, nobody else is doing that anymore. It's like you're just showing.
Well, there are people that are doing it, and those are protesters and Antifa members, and they're using the mask so that they can't be doxxed. So was he using it more to be incognito, or was he using it because he's so concerned about his health?
They knew him.
Yeah.
They knew who he was because they were yelling obscenities at him.
They were.
And they were laced obscenities. They were not appropriate for this show.
They were New York style.
I don't even think they're
obscenities.
appropriate for bollocks. They were that bad.
I don't know. Bollocks is pretty salty.
No, there was some pretty there's one or two words that even George Carlin didn't mention in the 7 words you couldn't say. And this was one of them.
That list got rather long before he passed away.
I know. So I'm just telling you, it's just not good.
It was
Wasn't
not good.
No.
Well, I mean, the polls are not looking good for the ones that Robert De Niro would be supporting. They're not looking good.
All right. So libertarians.
Libertarians.
Trump goes. Was he smart to go?
I think so.
I think you go places where if you're trying to expand your base, you go to places where you have to go speak to those people.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to see Biden go anywhere that isn't a crowd of 12.
Oh, no.
Right? You're just not going to see that. For the next few months, you're not going to see it.
Slightly hostile.
No
He's not
way.
going anywhere where someone's going to ask him a hard question.
Look, he is going to a safe space twice that we know of, and that is a presidential debate. Because he will not be asked a tough question. His opponent's mic will be cut off. His opponent will have all of the hard questions thrown at him that are statements more than they are questions. They will be long diatribe statements, right? I expect
Do you think he's got long diatribes in
one
him?
of the interviewers to read all 88 counts that he was charged with. We'd like you to respond to this. An hour and a half later. Okay, the debate's over.
Yeah.
But I thought he was smart to go. I thought he had a great line where he told the libertarians, join with us. We can't lose.
Yeah.
And I'll help you get some of your things done.
Yeah.
Or vote against me and just be happy once again with the 2 to 3% of the vote. I thought it was just a flat out, it was a sales pitch from a business person.
Yeah.
Right? You can
And-
do this and you get to win, or you can do this and you get to lose. You pick.
There's a faction of libertarians who are very logical and very mathematical.
Yes.
And I think that would resonate with them. There's a faction of libertarians that just want to smoke their weed and just want to do whatever.
And that was the thing. Every time I talked to a libertarian when I was running for office umpteen number of years ago, I knew when I was in a discussion with the libertarian, right, that I might agree with them on limited government, I might agree with them on other things, but I knew eventually, I knew where we were going.
Yeah.
I knew where the discussion was headed.
Legalizing
It was
weed.
to legalize. And now that weed is legal in most places, do they even have an issue anymore? That was one of their core binding issues of being a libertarian.
Yeah. That was the only reason why they had any sort of momentum.
Yeah.
So 2016 was the closest I ever came to voting libertarian. And I might have, had it not been the absolute goober that they nominated, Gary Johnson.
Oh, he was not a good candidate. William Weld was with him too, right?
All they had to do was nominate someone not crazy, and I would have voted for them. Like, just someone not crazy.
Well, I mean, honestly, right now, you say that about the libertarians back then, but we have two people that have fought this out before. The Democrats had 4 years to get somebody better. The Republicans had 4 years to get somebody that was maybe more likable than Trump. Now, I love Trump, right? I love what he did politically. I think he can be a train wreck at times when he's talking and speaking and just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Because you have a media that's waiting for him to slip up and say something that in a conversation between friends will be like, oh, he said that, no big deal. But when the national news media wants to blow it completely out of proportion, here you go.
Yep.
Troy for Prez, have you seen that closet, Davey? His skeletons are afraid of his skeletons. So, yes.
I mean,
yeah.
no comment.
No comment. His skeletons are afraid
I
of his
don't know
skeletons.
Troy's skeletons. So to me, he's just the jolly man that wears hats and has a beard.
Troy will tell you his skeletons are afraid. Ask him. He'll tell you.
I would rather not.
Ask him. I don't blame you. So I thought it was good for Trump to go. I don't think it changes a bunch of needle. I think libertarians.
I don't think it moves the needle much.
I think certain people enjoy being outside of the mainstream in either party. They don't mind losing as long as they can say, I wasn't with that stupid group and I wasn't with that stupid group. I'm with this stupid group that doesn't get anything done. They're okay with that. And I understand that because occasionally I fall into that category. Occasionally I'll be like, I just can't work with either one of those.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to do it your way, and I'm not going to do it your way. I'm going to do it my way. But your way is just as dumb as the rest of it. Yeah, but it's still my way.
It is.
So I do understand the mindset. I get it a little bit. I can be a contrarian at times, and I get that. So,
And so can I.
yeah.
For example, I still have not seen the Top Gun sequel.
I get it. Some people are haters. Some people are haters.
That's
so
me.
anyway, so I saw that. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I think the libertarians they nominated somebody who's worse than RFK. They nominated somebody who has zero chance of appealing to any broad group of people. So congratulations on fulfilling Trump's prophecy. Work with me or get 3%.
Including libertarians 3 years ago.
Yeah. Somewhere
Libertarians
Jill Stein,
4.5 years ago.
somewhere Jill Stein is going, I got a chance at third again. I'm going to be on the podium. I'm getting the bronze medal again.
Somebody's telling me I got a chance.
Yeah, her and RFK are battling that out. And right now it just depends on, I would tell you that Jill Stein, just as she did in 2016, will pull votes from Biden. She pulled them from Clinton in some key states. And I think that RFK Jr. and Jill Stein will do the same thing again.
So I don't think that him going to the Libertarian convention does much to move the needle with libertarians, but I think it does something with independents.
That's a great point.
Because they're the ones looking for someone who's brave enough to go into the hostile room and who will do something to change this. I mean, I heard a stat recently, under the 8 years of Obama, incomes rose $1,000. Average American income rose $1,000. Under the really 3 years of Trump, because 1 year was just hijacked by nonsense. During 3 years of the Trump administration doing what Trump does, income increased $4,000, the average American income. And now we've lost all of that.
Yes.
And
then some.
In just 3 years. Well, not only have we lost that $4,000, but now inflation, it's insane. So, I mean, we have a very stark contrast on what this world can be. And I think a lot of people are willing to look past the fact that they're all jerks. And we wouldn't want any of them to babysit our kids. Go with the guy that's going to not bankrupt you.
Yes.
So
I would spend big bucks on citizen enrichment. Oh, my goodness gracious. I'm afraid to ask what Davy's citizen enrichment would be.
I want to go to that party.
I just don't want to have to clean up after that party.
I didn't volunteer to clean up.
I don't want to be doing that. No.
I'll work VIP tent, Davey.
Okay. So I typically used to read a lot of stuff on the left. And after Trump got elected, it just was so bad. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I couldn't go there. So I had to unplug from a lot of very toxic things. Occasionally I would go look, but I found myself intrigued. And again, I'm not watching as much news as I used to watch. I still read quite a bit, but I'm unplugging a lot of that stuff as well. Because to me, I kind of think I felt like a lot of our listeners did after the intensity of 5 or 6 years of Trump stuff, right? You're like, okay, everyone just wanted to unplug. And I think that's going on today to a large degree, that a lot of people are unplugging and they're like, I know who I'm going to vote for. We've done this before.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not staying up that night to watch the election because some fool state is going to count these votes until St. Patrick's Day. Right. So we're just going to go. But anyway, I've started kind of looking and finding some articles. So this guy, Eric Levitz, writes for Vox. Eric Levitz. He writes for Vox.
Fine institution.
Well, I go places to get things that are very different from what I think.
Like Trump, you go into the hostile space.
I will go different places. I'm not afraid to read something written by somebody that I might disagree with. And you know what? If I disagree with them, I just disagree with them. I would never write a letter that he needs to be canceled or he's entitled to his opinion.
No, we just laugh about it on the podcast. Please keep writing articles. We want you to keep your job.
Please.
So we have an easy place to look for content.
Look, without Brian Stelter on CNN, we've run out a lot of content.
Yep. Potato in chief.
Yes, so the headline is one explanation for the 2024 election's biggest mystery.
There's a mystery?
A theory why Biden is struggling with young, white, and non-white voters. So why is he struggling with it? So for somebody at Vox, this is a mystery. For somebody like me, I saw it last Thursday when I pulled into a gas station in Georgia.
Who is this? Eric Levitz?
Eric Levitz.
Come on down. We'll buy you a beer. We'll have a conversation.
We'll have a conversation. I can take you places that show you how people are having to spend. When I go through the grocery store and the items that are regularly priced are fully stocked and the items that are BOGO are sold out.
Yeah.
That's because they're getting hit so hard with inflation that it's unbelievable. When you go through this, they're all like, oh, inflation's not bad and this is not bad. But anyway, I will get to the story.
All right. Let's hear what Eric Levitz has to say.
He says that Trump has a small lead, right? 4 years ago, Biden won voters under the age of 30 by 23 points. Black voters by 79 points and Hispanics by 35 points.
And here's the thing.
Yes.
Trump doesn't have to win those demographics. He just has to narrow the margin.
Well,
if he narrows that margin, it's over.
Now, the latest New York Times poll, because that's the only poll they believe, is the New York Times poll.
Of course. The gray lady.
And I have to say this. The one thing that frustrates me is the New York Times has some of the best reporting on election night. If you want to find out the vote totals, They get that stuff before anybody else gets it and gets it out there.
Possibly because they paid to put them in the ballot. No, I didn't say that. That was a joke.
I don't know how.
Mark Zuckerberg is amazing.
It's unbelievable to me that they do as well as they do. I don't want to like them, but I find myself having to go there to get results, and it bothers me. I just want you to know. So the latest shows
I'm
Trump
offended.
leading Biden by 3 points among young voters, which is a 26-point shift in young voters, right?
Dude.
Voting for Trump. They also found Biden tied with Trump among those under 30 in a two-way matchup, right? When a third-party candidate is included, Trump led Biden by 10 points. Those are not good numbers because typically in my entire life, and I was pretty conservative and I had some liberal leanings at some point in time when I was a younger guy, right?
Interesting.
Yes. It was more libertarian, probably. Not Democratic, more libertarian. But this is great because they would always tell you when you're young, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart. And if you're not a conservative when you're old, you don't have a brain.
Yeah.
I didn't make the saying up. It's what they say. So anyway,
what they say.
It's just what they say. So as a young guy, I felt like, well, I don't have a heart. Now it's like, man, where did all those brains go for those other people? Polling of non-white voters paints a similar picture, similarly counterintuitive picture. Right? And here's the thing that's funny for me. Eric is trying to figure out what's going on, but he's going into trying to figure out what's going on by already having...
He already has
his hypothesis, right? That everyone should be voting for Biden because, gosh darn it, Biden's not Trump.
So what are the numbers?
So
Biden v. Trump right now?
By 10 points with young voters in a three-way race. In Fox poll with third-party candidates included, Hispanics favor Biden by 5 points, while black voters favor him by 36. Now, he won by 79 points in the African-American vote. Biden did. He's down to just a 36-point lead. You said something that was very smart earlier in this conversation, that he didn't need to win them. He just needed to...
He just has to narrow the margin.
Yes.
And if he narrows the margin enough, I mean, so what did you say? You said it's now 5 points with Hispanics, whereas it was 10 points last time?
With Hispanics last time, 35.
35.
He's lost 25 points with Hispanics.
That's Arizona.
Huh?
Arizona was a difference of 10,000 votes. That's Arizona.
Yeah.
Just narrowing that margin.
It's a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's a lot of places with the more... The places that this hurts Joe Biden is in bigger inner cities with a more diverse population than rural areas. The rural area vote is not going to change unless it gets bigger for Trump. Trump has done nothing in the last 4 years to alienate people in rural areas that were already mad at big government.
Yeah.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
So... Anyway.
And in fact, he might even be more sympathetic because they're used to getting railed by the government. And now Trump is also getting railed by the New York government and the Georgia government. They heard about the warrant and that it was a use of force warrant for paperwork in Mar-a-Lago that they had already secured. Like that makes him more relatable to people who feel like they're constantly getting screwed by the government.
Yeah. Yes. 100%. And that also includes a group of people who feels like the system has been rigged against them for some time, which in a lot of cases is minorities.
Yeah.
That will tell you the system has never been fair. When they see somebody treated and they go, I know, I've had family members or I've had friends that have gone through this and they weren't treated fairly by the system, it draws sympathy for Trump. This whole lawfare against him has backfired in an incredible way.
Well, not only does it make him more relatable and more sympathetic, but it also contrasts, okay, one president is allowing this to happen, not only with his blessing, but with his constant rah-rahing and endorsement. And the other president is the one that's a victim of it. So one of them might do something to try and purge the system of this corruption. One of them might. It's certainly not going to be the one with pom-poms pooping his pants on the sideline. It might be the one who's been the victim of it.
Yes. In this article, Eric says, notably, the president is doing especially badly with non-white Americans who don't reliably cast ballots in elections. It's underlined. I changed tone because this is underlined. So here's a writer bitching that people that vote Democrat don't reliably cast ballots in elections. As a result, in a departure from most modern American history, high turnout, again emphasized, may actually favor Republicans this year.
What?
So now Democrats are afraid
Of high turnout.
that minorities are going to vote. In years, it was count every vote. You have to count every vote. You have to count every. Here's a guy writing articles says, if we count every vote this year, it could be bad for us.
Yeah.
That's what he says there without saying that in that sentence.
Yeah.
If November's results match these findings in 2024, will witness a historically rapid shift in demographics of the Republican and Democrat coalitions, which is odd considering that the two parties are running the same candidates as they did 4 years ago.
Well,
I do agree with that.
He sort of self-owns himself with the who don't reliably cast ballots in elections, because aren't they the Democratic strategy? Like, aren't the Democrats always saying we're not the party of the old white guy? And so if that's what Biden said, if you're not what, then if you don't vote for me, then you're not what? I mean, that's what Biden said. And now this guy is like, oh, well, I mean, those people don't reliably cast votes. So,
So in speaking of this shift between the Republican and Democratic Party, the shift that I have seen that has been the most glaring and obvious to me is even before Trump, the Democratic Party was becoming the party of government.
and the elites.
And the elite. That's not what the Democratic Party was when I was a kid. They were the outsider party. They were not the inside.
They were the little guy.
They were the little, and they were fighting for the little guy. As they have become more attached to the elites, they fight less for the little guy. They say they do, but they really don't. They haven't really worried about inflation.
Tell me
they
how your
haven't worried
grocery
Yes.
bills doing, little
Tell
guys
me
out
what
there.
your car payment is. Tell me what your
I can
rent
tell you what
payment is,
mine
right?
is.
These are all things that when I was a kid growing up, Democrats bitched that the rich guy was taking advantage of the little guy. Now that the little guy is getting crushed, you don't hear anything about that.
Yeah.
The other one that's very interesting for me is Republicans were always looked at as the fat cats, the big business people who didn't give a darn. Well, guess who's in bed with big business now? The Democrats.
Yeah.
And Republicans are now fighting for the working class guy. So this shift has altered. I think Trump
It's super
pushed
weird.
it across the edge. I think Reagan started this, but Trump is finally the one. I can't see a lot of working class guys getting excited about Mitt Romney. I just can't.
No.
They didn't because they didn't vote for Mitt. So
I wanted to compare, since we're talking about young people, I wanted to compare what the late May 2020 polling numbers were looking like
yes,
versus what they're looking like right now.
okay,
Because it's not like we haven't seen these candidates before, and just let's look at what trends are showing us.
Yeah.
So Biden was 48 in May 26, 2020. Trump was 42.4. So Trump was down, what, almost 6 points?
6 points.
5.5 points. All right. Right now, Real Clear Politics average is Trump up 1.2 points. So it's 47.5 versus 46.3. That's wild. That's wild. That's what, 7-8 points?
yes.
That's crazy, dude.
And I still go back. I've said this a lot in the last 6 weeks during this trial. The longer that Trump was in the trial, the better he's been doing.
Yeah.
Because he can't say stupid stuff.
So Hillary Clinton was up 1 point in 2016, and she went on to lose. So, just because he's up right now doesn't mean he has it.
The polls mean nothing.
No, they don't.
I mean, they're just a snapshot in time of people who may or may not vote.
Well, and polls typically, even when you average it out with Real Clear Politics, they typically, I mean, what did Rush always say? It's always, 2 to 4 points in the Democrats' favor?
Yes.
So if they're saying right now that Trump is plus 1.2, then according to Rush's metric, he's plus 3.2
Correct.
to 4.2.
Yeah. Yes. There was a place in this article where Eric decides that eventually the polls, when people actually vote, it favors Democrats. And I'm like, well, that's not some of what I've seen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I've seen more. So the other thing that he talks about is social trust. And he believes that Biden is losing ground with the most distrustful demographic groups.
Losing ground
Not
with the
distrustful in a way that
most
we shouldn't
distrustful?
trust them, but groups that distrust things in the government.
Okay.
All right. So
Shocker.
yes, social trust describes a person's degree of confidence in the decency of other people. Okay, I'm going to disagree a little bit. I think social trust I would look at that as the decency of the federal government. Right? Those in high-end social trust believe that they can safely expect others to abide by social norms. People low in social trust aren't so certain. Political scientists measure this trait by asking voters questions like, generally speaking, would you say that most people can be trusted, or you can't be too careful in dealing with people?
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what day of the week it is, I could say yes to either one of those. Yeah. Depends on how many people I've run into that day.
Depends on how many people have cut me off in traffic.
Yes, exactly. If it was a bad day driving, then I don't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Political trust, meanwhile, describes a person's level of faith in government, the Constitution, constitutional order, and other major institution. Researchers gauge voters' political trust by simply asking them whether various institutions have a positive impact. Right? I think government over the last 4 years has had a rather negative impact on a whole bunch of things.
Really?
Yes. On how they responded to a crisis, on how they responded to inflation caused by that crisis, on how they responded to supply chains, on how they have responded to mortgage rates, interest rate, everything. It has been the surge across the border. At every instance, the federal government, in my opinion, has let down the American people. And I think this shows in the numbers. You can say it's distrust or social trust or whatever you want to, but when you see things not working, it doesn't matter how many times somebody comes on TV and tells you things are fine.
Yeah.
Newman was standing. What was his? No, not Newman. What was the guy in Animal House?
Oh, Animal House.
All is calm, remain calm. And the band runs him over, right? Yeah. That's people right now telling you that the government is great and that things are. Paul Krugman would be that guy. I would put his face on that guy and let the band run him over.
Well, isn't he a Nobel Prize winning economist?
Nah, he's an idiot.
I know.
I read his stuff and go, I'm doing the opposite. So far, I'm batting 100. In a 2019 study of social trust, Pew Research broke the electorate down into high trusters, medium trusters, and low trusters.
Okay, Pew.
Among voters under 30, just 11% fell into the first category. I have so much more faith in young people right now. While 46%.
Only 11% are high trusters?
Yes.
All right.
I'm suddenly liking this younger generation. Of course, they weren't trusting me because I was their parent telling them what to do.
Did it include trust in people on TikTok? Because I feel like they have high trust in people on TikTok. High trust,
especially on those challenges. Among senior citizens, those are 37% and 19% respectively. So the older you were, the more trust you had in stuff. The younger you were, you didn't. The point being, again, back to this, the younger people are leaving Biden because they don't trust him.
Yeah.
I think they're leaving Biden because he said, I'm going to do certain things. They may have voted for that, may have wanted to vote for him in high school and couldn't. They may have voted for him in college. They may have just been out of college. But their life financially has not been easy the last 4 years.
Nope.
For a whole host of reasons. In Biden's defense, not all of them were his fault.
Not all of them, but he certainly didn't help.
But he didn't do anything to mitigate any of the circumstances. No. There's not a thing that he did that you go, boy, that made it easy on somebody.
And
if you were a legal U.S. citizen. If you're a non-citizen, it might have been a little bit easier for you to do certain things.
Well, and I think because we have social media now, young people are seeing that. They're seeing that there is a stark difference with how citizens in their 20s are being treated compared to how non-citizens who may or may not have entered the country illegally are treated. They're sitting here like, I have to share an apartment with 3 of my friends and still can barely buy food. Meanwhile, my taxes that are getting taken out of my check are going to pay for the apartments of other people. Like, they're noticing that.
They're noticing it. When times are good, people are like, I'm doing okay, I'm fine.
Yeah.
When times are tough and you're barely making it, all of a sudden watching somebody else get favorite treatment does not sit well with you. And the only way that you can reply to that or let people know you're upset is voting in a national election. And I think there's going to be a lot of angry voters. This guy kind of, Eric also says that the Biden 2024 coalition is short on the tear it all down voters. There are certain voters that want to tear the entire government down. I disagree with that. I think they have a very good group of people that want to tear a lot of stuff down in the government. I just don't. They just don't agree with Biden not doing it fast enough.
I would say there's two different categories of the tear it all down voters. There's the tear down the entire system and replace it. And Biden has those voters, except for how they're not liking the way he's handling Israel-Palestine. And so those people are leaving him, the ones that want to completely tear down the system, that reliably vote Democrat if they ever vote. They don't like how the Israel-Palestine decisions are being made at the federal level. But then you have the tear it all down voters who are like, the government's corrupt, the institutions are corrupt, tear down the corruption and rebuild it the way it's supposed to be. There are two different kinds of tear it down voters.
Yep.
The ones that want to tear down the corruption and rebuild what it's supposed to be, those people are not on the left.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I 100%. Yeah. Eric goes on, why did Biden presidency may have accelerated low trust voters rightward drift?
Because he's telling us everything's fine and we can see that it's not.
Yes, it's like saying the Titanic is not sinking as the iceberg floats away. There are a few reasons to think Biden may have a bigger problem with the distrustful size in 2020, right? Because he does say you're running the exact same candidate. So how can everything be so different? Well, first of all, you've had 4 years. Joe Biden said, if you elect me, I will bring normalcy back.
It ain't normal.
It ain't normal. And people out here know it's not normal. And they're like, wait a minute, that's the one thing you said.
He also said he would bring decency back, and haven't seen that either.
We've not seen that. H.W. Bush, one big pledge. Read my lips, no new taxes.
And then immediately raises taxes.
And then raise taxes.
As a Republican.
He paid for that.
By being a one-term.
By being a one-term. Joe Biden
president.
said, I will bring normalcy, right? I will bring normalcy. Donald Trump said, I'll fix the system. He didn't fix the system, right? There was a lot of chaos in his first term. He fixed the economy.
Seriously underestimated how broken the system was.
I do think that's one of his biggest things he underestimated.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think he's going to make that same mistake this time.
Yeah. So the reasons that this gentleman says that Trump has or Biden has problems, he's the incumbent, right? So before he could point to government and go, look, Trump messed it all up. I'll make it normal. You got 4 years to grade him on that now. When he was Obama's vice president, people liked Obama. So he got some credit for that, even though he didn't do anything. And as Barack famously said, never underestimate how Joe can screw things up.
Yeah.
Right? Never underestimate.
Because even though people liked Obama, everyone, like literally everyone made jokes about creepy Uncle Joe.
Yes.
And somehow we just forgot about that. And he's the one bringing decency back. When he was a punchline for 8 years for creeping on people.
Yeah.
It's wild to me.
So the second is the vax mandates. There's some evidence that the policy hurt Biden with non-white voters. I think the policy hurt Biden across the board. And as time has gone on, and there's been more and more evidence, and more people have said, hey, wait a minute. The people that were questioning had a reason and a valid reason for being questioning, and maybe we should have done things differently. That's gone across the board. You've got people like Chris Cuomo, Scott Adams, all people that were on one side of the argument that in retrospect are now going, wait a minute, maybe the guys that I was yelling at on the other side of the argument had a valid point.
Yeah.
And so you have some of that.
Well, even Chris Cuomo was like, hey, got it wrong. I'm not going to apologize, though.
I'm not going to apologize, but I got it
now
wrong.
he's suffering from
And
ramifications.
taking all kinds of medicine to try to get better, which we want Chris to get better, right? I don't want anybody to suffer.
I don't want anyone to suffer.
Third is the possibility that inflation increased the prevalence of political distrust within American society, turning medium trusters into low trusters. Look, when someone tells you that inflation is going to be transitory, inflation is not a big deal, inflation will go away, and
that everything's fine.
And then month after month after month, you see the pain that people are suffering trying to put food on the table. Darcy and I were over in Putnam County on a Saturday morning riding, and there's a food distribution place. The line was out the door and down the highway. These are people that had to go get food on a Saturday from a food distribution place.
And I wonder how many of them it's their first time doing that, or the first year they've had to do that.
I don't know, but in a thriving economy,
Yeah.
there should be no line there.
Yeah.
In an economy where food prices have not skyrocketed, everyone should be able to get food.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had Epicure and other different groups on here that are giving food away, and they're giving away record numbers of food because it's so expensive that people cannot afford it at the grocery store. I am amazed that there hasn't been more unrest over just what food is costing. And people's wages have gone up, but they've gone up nowhere near the inflation numbers of gas and food and rent all by itself.
Yeah.
At no point in time did the guy in charge come out and go, we are going to try to figure this out. We are going to try to help you. We are going to try to look at what the core things are with it. Guy came out and said, we're going to raise your taxes. We're going to tax the rich. We're going to tax those that spend money, which only slows the economy down even more.
It makes it harder for you to get a job.
There's a proposal out now to raise the capital gains from around 12 to 14% on investment income to 45%. If that happens, you will shut this economy down in a way. It will be just a rapid. You've ever seen the old shows on either the subway or a train, and they pulled the line and everyone went flying. That is exactly what the economy is going to look like. That pull the string, boom. And they're saying if you keep it in the stock market, we're going to tax you on your unrealized gain. So let's say you bought a stock January 1st of this year and you paid $1,000 for it.
Yeah.
And let's say on December 31st of this year, it's worth $10,000. You haven't made $9,000 yet because you haven't cast a stock in.
Yep.
But they want you to pay taxes on the $9,000. You could potentially lose $9,500 on that same stock the next year, sell it and only make lose $500, but you've already paid taxes on $9,000. It will crush the stock market.
Hold on to your butts.
People will be like, I'm getting out while I can get out, which will be the most accelerated stampede out the doors than you have ever seen.
Well, we haven't seen it in almost 100 years.
We might. So those are the things that you look at and you go, who is running this that thinks that this is a good idea? The last time that you had a really regressive tax, they raised the luxury tax on boats and cars and all kinds of high-end items, which the rich just said, we just won't buy them.
Yeah.
And so they did a study afterwards. It was Clinton who passed the luxury tax. We're going to get those rich that aren't paying their fair share. The rich just quit buying things.
Yeah.
The government spent more money on unemployment benefits for the people that were laid off at these factories that produced these high-end items than they collected in the tax.
Yeah.
So epic fail on that part. So for me, I read this guy's article because I thought it was interesting to kind of see, hey, where does this kind of roll? I think that Biden has had an opportunity to show people, hey, I can bring normal back, and he didn't. And people every week are reminded that normal is not here when they go to the grocery store, the gas pump, or they pay the rent. He can't change that between now and November.
No way.
And he's not charismatic enough for people to like him. And then yesterday, when they trot out Robert De Niro, Bobby De Niro, to yell at Trump voters, it was like, wait a minute, you don't have another guy? You've got an older guy that's the president that yells at voters. Now you've got an actor yelling at voters. So you're saying your whole strategy is to just yell at voters who aren't doing what you want?
No. The whole strategy is old, rich, white guys
yelling at voters. Yeah.
Old, rich, white guys.
Yes.
That haven't had to stress out about filling up their gas tank before payday.
Those guys haven't filled their own gas tank up in years.
In at least my lifetime.
I want to know the last time Bobby De Niro filled up his gas tank. I want to know. I know Biden hasn't done it because he's had Secret Service and he's had all these people around him, and somebody else does that for him, right? I would never expect to see him. will also say this. Donald Trump hasn't ever filled his gas tank up.
I doubt it.
I don't think he ever filled it
Does
up.
he even
Is
have
it
a driver's
entire-
license?
I would love to know. Does he? I mean, when's the
Does
last
he?
time he drove a car?
He's a New Yorker.
I hear he's a phenomenal driver of a golf cart.
The best.
I think he's the best
Huge-
golf cart driver ever
hugely
on
popular
Mar-a-Lago.
golf
Yes.
cart.
I think he could do that. But he hasn't. But he's also not a guy that's campaigned as an everyman.
No, he hasn't.
He has campaigned as, I'm the rich guy that fixed all this other stuff, and I can fix this too.
And ironically enough, with that stance, he's the one that resonates with the everyman,
Yes.
which is weird, and the Democrats can't figure it out.
It is driving them nuts.
Yeah.
It is driving them nuts how they keep pointing out that he's
Which
a
is why they're
billionaire.
so angry.
And people are going, yeah, but we like that billionaire.
Yeah.
And again, I was not,
We've been telling you for years to hate billionaires.
I can remember before he came down the escalator, I thought, this is horrible. This is a joke. This is terrible. A week after he had come down and he refused to back down over anything that he said,
Yeah.
I went, this is over. This guy's going to win. I didn't like Trump. I watched The Apprentice maybe twice in all the seasons it was on.
I enjoyed The Apprentice.
It wasn't a show that I got excited about. I didn't need to see Donald Trump firing people or talking about it.
It's
None
probably
of
a
that
little
did.
PTSD for you because you've had to fire people. But at that point in my life, I had never been fired and I had
Well,
never been in a position to fire anyone. So it was fun for me.
The one episode I watched was, I think, like a season ender where it was
Yeah.
two people left and they were running a charity golf tournament for one and a charity something for something else. And they were struggling to do that. And as a Rotarian, we had helped different nonprofits run golf tournaments and other things for years to help them make more money.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard. I understand that you had some celebrities there and it might have been a nicer course, but there's some basic core things that you do. And if you do those things, it's a great tournament. And all of these people acting like this was hard. And I'm like, I wouldn't hire either one of these two people. This is something that's rather easy to do. And volunteers have done it all across the country for a long time without this kind of mess.
Do you know, I learned in February that if you want to run a successful event, ask Jimmy Jam to help you.
Who?
Jimmy Jam.
Oh, Jimmy Jam's awesome. Those guys are
They
amazing.
can run an event like you would not believe.
They're wonderful.
Just ask Van Strange.
Yes, Van Strange is riding the coattails of Jimmy Jam.
For sure. 100%.
100%.
So-
Jimmy Jam is the woman behind the man of Van Strange.
Okay.
Well, we had to get a women reference in today. We watched women yesterday.
Oh,
in the movie,
I've
so
got
we
a
had to
woman's
get a
reference for
preference.
you.
Oh, I can't wait. You've been
Speaking-
saving. I've been looking at this.
Yep.
This lady with
This
glasses
lovely,
staring. Yes.
lovely blonde.
Did I get yelled at yesterday?
No,
Okay. Thank
you
goodness.
didn't get yelled at.
All right.
Okay, so speaking of out of touch,
Yes.
I would like to just my word of advice from an unsuccessful woman in her 40s to all of you super wealthy corporations out there: stop hiring out of touch, rich Ivy League 20-something-year-old girls because it looks good on your spreadsheets. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Okay, so Cracker Barrel hired a 20-something blonde girl who looks so smart, and she tanked their stock in a year. Do you want to see the chart
Yes.
of the Cracker Barrel stock
Yes.
under her? So she got hired a year ago.
Did she get rid of the biscuits?
She got hired a year ago.
Yes.
So here's their stock. That's a year ago. That's where it started.
Is she still working with them?
Yes. In fact,
Dang it.
see this really steep decline right here?
Yes.
That's because she went to the stockholders meeting, the shareholders meeting, and informed them that their brand is no longer relevant.
Cracker Barrel's awesome among a certain segment of people.
So they dumped stock because the CEO said, hey, we kind of suck and nobody wants us. So what we need to do to become relevant, let me find her plan. It's great.
She's the CEO at 26.
She's the CEO. I don't know how old she is, but she looks okay. So here are
does
her
look young.
suggestions to make Cracker Barrel relevant. And I imagine I just ate at Cracker Barrel
I
like
want
not
hats
too long
made
ago.
for this show that said, make Cracker Barrel again.
All right. So here are her suggestions.
Yes.
They want to charge more. Do you think that's going to play well with Cracker
in a
Barrel's
really
demographic?
tough economic times. Ask McDonald's and
Yeah.
Burger King how
How's
that is
that going
going
for you,
Ask
McDonald's?
them. Yes.
Okay, so she wants to charge more.
Yep.
She wants to change decor.
If we put disco balls in there, I'm out. I'm never going back in again.
If they strip it and turn it, so we just we were coming back from Orlando.
Yeah.
We let our youngest kid pick where we're gonna stop to eat, and it was McDonald's.
Ugh.
We walked into a McDonald's somewhere between Orlando and here.
Yeah.
That you can only see an employee through the kitchen reach in.
Yeah.
There were no other employees. There was an empty counter.
Yeah.
The entire decor looked like an empty warehouse.
And
there was just touch screens. If they do that to Cracker Barrel, it's done.
well, McDonald's
toast.
is in trouble right now. There
Yeah.
was a great meme that showed a picture of McDonald's when we were kids. It was red, it was yellow, it was bright.
It was garish. It was ridiculous.
It looked fun.
But it
when you
looks
were a kid,
fun
you wanted
and
to go
homey.
there. Now that McDonald's is sold, they're like, when did McDonald's go through its midlife crisis and suddenly become a grumpy old man?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at it now, you're like, that looks like an institution.
It looks like a prison.
I don't want to go there. Yeah. I don't even want to drive through it anymore.
It's just, it was concrete. Well, so, okay, change decor, charge
Yes.
more. These are her big, groundbreaking plans.
Hang on, wait a second. There's a huge shout out for Jimmy Jam is all Denise Goss. And so we have to give a
Denise.
shout out to Denise because we're running out of time. and I
She's
don't,
amazing. She made the Jimmy Jam glasses.
Yes, so Denise,
brought you one.
awesome job. Tim, great shout out on your part.
Totally love Jimmy Jam and Denise.
Yes, we love Denise. So anyway, go back. I'm
So are you
sorry
ready?
to interrupt
Are you ready for the last groundbreaking, gonna turn Cracker Barrel around, make it relevant again?
If she says serve sushi, they should fire her.
Green chili cornbread. That's the groundbreaking idea. After you've increased costs and you've completely gutted what makes Cracker Barrel Cracker Barrel.
Can we do a Wikipedia search and see if somewhere in there one of her ancestors was involved in New Coke or the Edsel?
Julie Fels.
I just want to know if one of her ancestors was involved in marketing
Julie
of New
Fels
Coke or Edsel.
Messino. She
Yes.
certainly made the stock Fels.
Yes.
Oh my word. So like, darling, little tip from me to you. If your company is suffering, maybe don't tell all of your shareholders that you're no longer relevant and hit them with green chili cornbread and new decor with increased prices and a terrible economy.
So my question to her, I would never have hired her as a CEO. I would have sat down as somebody in the interview and said, so tell me what you know about Cracker Barrel. And then the next question would have been, how many times have you eaten at Cracker Barrel?
Yeah.
And
Stop.
if the answer was less than 10, out, right out the door, gone. I'm not interviewing you.
Bud Light just learned last year, maybe don't hire someone to create the messaging for your company who hates your customers.
Well,
and
she
I'm
didn't
pretty
in
sure
college because she was seen with a lot of
she
Bud
was
Lights.
partying with them in college, but then she got enlightened and she thought
broke
they
up
were
with Bud Light before she broke up Bud Light.
she thought they were
that was a
fratty
good-
and out of
I
touch.
thought that was a good play on words.
It's not bad.
She broke up with Bud Light before she broke up Bud Light.
Yeah,
I just looking.
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
So, like, maybe these companies can stop hiring 20-something girls from the Ivy League that hate the brand and hate the customer base.
As someone who reads Hillary Clinton articles in a painful way, are you a woman throwing other women under the bus?
This one,
I have to ask for
this
Hillary.
one and that one,
This one and that one.
and the Hillary one, as long as she doesn't throw me under the bus first.
Is there a way to buy a Jimmy Jam glass? Let me see what we can do for you, Barbara Jean, because we are not involved in that part of the 904 now. There is a Jimmy Jam glass on Davy's table, but it proudly holds a pen.
It does. It's his pen holder.
And I do not want to speak for that glass from Davy.
Yeah.
If I saw a box of them under a desk in here, I would grab two. No one would ever notice, Barbara Jean, and I would get you a match set. But I've yet to see the box of them. So let me look around after the show today.
They were hard to come by at the Bourbon and Barbecue event.
Yeah, maybe Tim.
Maybe Bourbon
Can't
and
help you.
Barbecue round 2.
Yeah, or we'll put some aside for you. Barbara Jean, if I had the power to do it, I would do it for you.
Absolutely.
Mainly just to get you to forgive me for the 75 million comments I made about Pete, Davey, and Troy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the counter is up to 76 million now, but I don't know.
Maybe.
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 But some of them were funny.
Some of them were. I mean,
One
some of
or
them.
two. When you say that many, eventually
Dude.
you're going to get a good one.
So Cracker
Yes.
Barrel has lost 40% of its value since they hired this CEO.
If they fire her, I'm buying the stock. If they fire her and hire somebody who actually wants Cracker Barrel to be Cracker Barrel, I
Yeah.
will buy the stock.
Well,
and
I mean,
make $1 bazillion off of her
Why did she
stupidity.
accept the job if she hates the brand? Like, why? I don't get it.
Know. I don't know.
I don't understand.
I don't get it.
I don't get it, people.
I don't understand.
All right.
I got nothing. All right, so we talked about an idiot article today
And an idiot CEO.
and an idiot trial.
Yes.
And the people who weren't
It's been
idiots.
a day of idiots,
And
y'all.
the people who weren't idiots were all the people that listened and commented
Mm-hmm.
and loved the show and love each other for watching it. And so, again, hats off to Denise Goss,
love you
Tim
guys.
Goss, Barbara Jean, all of you guys out there share the show. You're amazing. Tomorrow in the morning, you get, what is the name of that show and what time is it on?
It's something
That's
something in the morning.
on- It's that show. It's on this network at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
There is an amazing crew, though. Pete,
Yeah.
Davey, and Troy, but I can never
There's an
remember their
afternoon
names.
show too,
There's
but you're
an
working.
afternoon show, which you guys are welcome to watch. Tomorrow, the Blevins boys will be here. I think Lenny will be here. You will be here.
I will be here.
And Trivia will be here. We have all.
And all the non-idiots will be here.
That is correct. People that actually make sense. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.